Okay, wow. So I can speak. I only understood something about mountains and Olot. Wow, a room full of people expecting me to show something new. Welcome to Robolot. I'd like to talk about the new version of Snap that we're going to release in less than a month on June 1st. But I don't want to make it like a technical report. So I decided, let me tell you something about circles. So I've been kind of lying awake last night thinking about circles and what I could tell you, because in a way, we're a circle of friends here in Olot for so many years at Faber. There have been many connections between us and many connections to other circles, like this community, circles of teachers from Barcelona, from Sicily, circles of teachers from all over the peninsula coming here. And so I drew some pictures of circles that I'd like to show you, and I put them into a little project thinking about what I could do with these circles. And it's a little project that is basically a slideshow. And so in the new version of Snap, this would be something how you can connect to the circle of your students, maybe, to prepare an activity, how you can connect to your students. I'm not a teacher, but this is something that I'm imagining might be useful. So one way when you have a project, such as I just made a project, I can import it into another project as a scene, sort of like as a chapter or as a level for a game. So let me try to import to add the scene. And it's called curve stitching. And now I have two scenes here. One is the one that I'd like to tell you about. And something that's new would be that I can now say that this scene should be a tutorial, something that I want to give to students or to you to prepare, maybe a lesson about circles. So I can mark this as a tutorial, and I can run this as a tutorial. So as I'm launching this tutorial, now I'm seeing this in a separate kind of dialog box, and I can resize it. And now let me tell you something about circles. So I'd like to make this project now that I thought about. I didn't make it, so I'm going to do it as a way to show you how I prepare for you, or how I prepare when I'm doing something for children. So we're going to do this, and then, so let me tell you about circles. Oh wow, it gets mathematical. Instead of drawing a circle the usual way, I'd like to do some math with you first and actually find out a bunch of points, like the points around a circle. And I looked up the math. This is what it is. So there's some sine and cosine involved, and then you multiply it with the radius. And this is not all about mathematics, so I can give you a hint. This is kind of the script that you can build. And I put, like, when you put something in here, you can actually drag it out, and so you don't have to build this yourself. And then so this would be kind of the formula. I'm going to make a new variable that is called circle, and I'm going to set my circle to that list of numbers. So it's 360 points, okay. So the first thing I'd like to try is, let's try to connect the dots. That's the interesting thing. They're just points, let's connect them. So, I could use a for loop let's actually make this a little bigger, to the length of my circles. And now I would go to every of these, go to the item I of the circle. I put the pen down, and when I'm all done, I'm putting the pen up again. Let's try this. Yeah, it is drawing a circle. Okay, so the dots actually make a circle. So the next thing I've been thinking about is, well, what if we just don't connect every dot, but what if we kind of skip one? So the first point gets connected to not the second, but the third one, and so forth. So let me try to make that. So I'd say, okay, first I'm going to the first one. Then I place the pen down. Then I want to go to another one, to this one. I want to skip one. So I'm going to I plus 1. Now it's going to wrap around, so I probably need to have some modulus by the length of the circle. And then I'm going to have to adjust for 1 again. Let's try this. Okay. Not used to such a small screen. Let's try this. Let's maybe first clear it. So it's drawing a slightly bigger circle. Okay, that's not so interesting. What if we kind of change the number of points that we skip? So instead of 1, maybe instead of 3, I just experiment with, let's say, plus 100, okay? And see what happens here. And oh, now it becomes more interesting. We're kind of getting almost like a secondary pattern. We're getting a kind of thicker line, but there's also some gradients involved. What if we experiment with even other things, like let's say maybe 150, and see what happens? Yeah, so we get some kind of moire patterns. That's interesting. But so this is just skipping a number, like always the same number of points. What if we didn't skip always the same number of points, but what if it kind of changed? Like, what if it became bigger? So instead of a +1 function, we take a ×2 function. Let's try that. So I'm going to relabel this to ×2. And when I'm doing this, oh wow, it's interesting. It's like an upside down heart, which also tells us something about circles and about friends. What if we widen this and say now we make it ×3? Oh, a heart? Oh, we get 2 hearts. That's kind of pretty. So now we can kind of play with other factors. What if we try other factors? Let's try, for example, 53. I have no idea. And we see there's interesting things happening because what is in between these points is interesting. Literally, what is in between, Latin means id quod inter est. So basically filling the space in between points with connections leads to secondary patterns. And I can spend hours doing this because they will be wildly different. It's not just always the same heart in different variations, but it's actually different shapes that come out. And so once I'm here, I thought, wouldn't it be interesting to find out, even kind of make a program that tries many of these things? And what about if it's not just integers? What about if it's like fractions or decimal numbers? So I thought, okay, maybe, I can make a little variable, which I'm going to call the factor. And I'm starting with a very small factor. Let's say my factor is 0.01. Then I'm skipping by that factor function. And I'm always doing this. And I'm incrementing that factor by a very tiny bit. Let's say by 0.01. And I don't want to see how every connection is drawn. I want to see the full picture at once. And so this could be something that might show me different ways. Wait, I should maybe put something like this on top. Let's try this. And now we get an animation that cycles through all kinds of combinations. And this is especially pleasing because now we see motion, and we see motion in different directions. We see secondary patterns. We see things evolving out of the stuff that is in between the points that literally is interesting, and that it's almost like a movie. And when something is animated, the word anima is in there. It is almost as something that is touching our souls, that is teaching us something about connections. The interesting thing is not the points in the circle. The interesting thing is what is happening in between the points. So mathematics, in a way, can be almost a poetic expression about how relationships can be modeled, and how relationships can be something that is beautiful and that actually has purpose. And so, to me, this really is kind of what it boils down to when I'm in Olot, when I'm at Robolot, when I see the children yesterday on the marketplace presenting their world. It is not what is happening so much in between the children and the technology, but it's what's happening among the children and among us as we speak to them. It is about finding a common ground and about building patterns and building animations touching our soul. And this really is kind of one of the themes that we're constantly thinking about, because it's the same thing when you as a teacher are dealing with students. Now, this would be something, now I've drawn this, now we've made this interesting thing, and I'd like to share this with you, and maybe you'd like to share this with your students. So now I could say, okay, I've built this. Let's turn this into a puzzle. So I can generate this into a puzzle. I've now built this. So now, up in the palette, I have all the blocks that I need to build this. I have this tutorial in here. So now I can go and mark this as a template. It's already marked as a template. It has a tutorial. So now I can give this a name and export this. I'm going to call this project Circles. And now I'm having the project Circles, and if I'm kind of now loading this project Circles that I just made, if I give this to my kids, what is happening, immediately it will open up the tutorial, and you will see the blocks, and they can kind of click through this and also do this. So it's a way to form a connection, to also prepare a lesson about what you've experienced yourself. So this is all about the next version. There's more in the next version. We're also constantly thinking about how interacting with robots is really something that tells us something about ourselves. As you see me here, gesturing widely with my arms, this is clearly a way for me to communicate with you. Don't you see what I want to tell you? And, you know, when we're talking with robots, we need a programming language. And, but when we're talking to each other, I'm always using body language, as are many of you. So one of the things that Bernat has worked on is to bring the camera bring camera gestures and bring artificial intelligence into Snap so we can use our bodies to control and speak to robots. So I'm going to try this now. Here's a little Koku robot that Kathy gave me, and she programmed the logo of the Olot soccer team on here. And I'm going to try to use Bernard's library to do this. So now you see this this robot, and I've got this soccer thing here. So as I'm putting this on here, you can see where it is because it's got a little sensor. So if I move it here, if I turn it, you can see turning. And that's just plain robotics. The interesting part is that you can see my hand here. And that is the camera. And so the hand can have gestures. So for example, if I make a victory sign, I now can pinch, and you can see how this little thing kind of, moves. And so I'm using body language for that. Oh, and now it's working. So let me try to actually use this to score a goal for Olot. So now you see it's here. Here's my hand. I'm going to start it now, and you can see how it moves in this digital twin. It's actually moving in reality. I'm saying stop. Now I want to turn it, so I'm saying, okay, please turn to there. Okay, stop. Now I want to open the claws. Yes, it's open. Now I want it to move forward. Yeah, it's moving forward. This is about the right position. Let's move again. It's catching the ball. Okay, wait, stop. How about shoot, shoot. And it did it. Okay, you didn't see it, but believe me, it was a goal for Ola. Thank you so much.